Hey there, this is Pam Perry, Get Out There, Get Known podcast. And so today we're going to be talking with a young lady who is a psychologist. And one of the things we're putting in the hot seat about how she can get more visibility, how she can get out there and get known. So you'll kind of get behind the scenes of where we'll be taking her and what that is and what that may look for you, because I always say you can listen and learn. But we'll talk about that right after this. Hey, this is Pam Perry, really giving you a PR pep talk. How to get publicity. What can it do for you? Why do you need it? What's it do? How much it costs? I'm going to answer those questions in a sec. So what can quick media coverage do? It can help you increase your visibility online, extend your reach, stand out from the crowd, higher ranking on Google so you can get found. SEO is important. That's what PR can do for you, for sure. So when you're ready, go to pamperrypr.com. Love for you to get out there and get known, get in all of the media that you see on the website, pamperrypr.com. Take a pic of the packages for the PR on pamperrypr.com. All righty, we'll see you there. So why do I do this podcast, Get Out There, Get Known? Because that is one of the main things that people come up to me and say, I want to know how to get out there. It's like, get out where? I know what they mean. So get out there because they want to get known. The more people that know about you, the more business you will get. And that's the bottom line. So you want to make sure that you're getting out there and that you're getting known. So this is part of the community for Ready, Set, Go, Speak. My name is Pam Perry, and I run pamperrypr.com. And one of the things that we have every week is a live stream, which is part of this podcast. The podcast has been going on for about a few years, but we wanted to incorporate the Ready, Set, Go, Speak community so they can hear basically behind the scenes how we dissect or how we actually do a media makeover for someone in the hot seat. Sometimes the Ready, Set, Go, Speak community, they'll come on and they'll chime in or they'll have questions. And then Lenzy also, he comes on, he kind of looks at the total business, but my main focus is really on the publicity, the PR, leveraging all of the media contacts, all of the media opportunities that you may have coming your way. So Tyreese has a big media opportunity coming up, and she'll be talking about that as well. She filled out the application. So if you want to be a part of the media makeover hot seats that we do on Friday or a part of the Ready, Set, Go Speak community, you can go to pamperrypr.com and send us a message there. But this is good for you if you are an author, you're a speaker, you're a subject matter expert, you're someone who wants more publicity, more eyeballs, more ears on what it is that you do. Besides having like thousands on Facebook or thousands on Instagram or even hundreds on YouTube, how do you leverage traditional media? How do you get into the ABC, NBC? How do you write a press release and who do you send the press release to? Those are some of the things that we go over in Ready, Set, Go, Speak. And so this will be about an hour. We'll go over Tyrese's situation. We'll give her some advice. Ready, Set, Go, Speak. They can come in as well because they're in the green room over there. But one of the main things too is offer an opportunity for you to learn more about Ready, Set, Go, Speak, about our community over there that includes quick media coverage immediately out of the gate. And so with that, I really just want to bring on our guests. There we go. We bring on to the stage Tyreese. How are you? And
Um,
Lenzy. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good, good. I love your background. Hey, Lenzy, how are
Thank
you?
you.
I'm well. Y'all can hear me,
Good.
right?
Yep, I
Yes.
can hear you. And then Eva is back there as well. So I just really wanted to tell people that this is a information that we're going to be giving to you, Tyreese, today. But really, the big transformation that I want to just be clear really does come when you spend some time, like Eva, being in our community, learning about the different opportunities and things like that that go into really spending a year with us in Ready, Set, Go, Speak. So information can lead to transformation, but it doesn't happen overnight. I have a magic wand, but it don't happen overnight, right? So
Okay.
it does take a little thing. But I wanted people to really understand that about what your business is, because I think from listening to where you are and what it is you're trying to do, they can learn a little bit about it. I know that you have been in Speakers Magazine and on our podcast. So one of the things, speaking is a great way for people to know a little bit more about, but you can only speak so much, right, in front of people. So you want to make sure that you're doing other things as well. So I'm going to make sure. There we go. There, yeah. So we'll put you in the middle there. You're in the hot seat in the middle. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, give us a little bit too about who you are and what you're trying to do. And Lenzy, he's going to really talk about the totality of your business in terms of income and revenue and those kind of things. And then I'll talk about really marketing and PR.
Okay. So I'm Tyreese Mccallister. I'm a public safety strategist. And what that means is I do all things public safety. And I do it through several different ways. One, I train police on mental health and wellness. I train police on how to deal with high risk individuals who may have mental health issues, trauma, maybe they're intellectually disabled, experiencing autism, so that the police can deal with them in a way that's safe, because these are vulnerable citizens that still might pose a threat to them as well. The other thing that I do is I am a therapist. So I provide therapy for not only police officers, but first responders. We know that our first responders are superheroes. They have jobs unlike most of us, where they run to danger, and most of us run away from danger. And with that comes a lot of opportunities for challenges in their own mental health. So I provide therapy because they're a very unique population, and living with them. So family members who live with people who put their life on the line on a regular basis have a real different perspective of how they deal with life, and they deal with the people that they love that are in these positions. So that's one thing. Also, in 2017, my daughter was killed by gun violence. And so I do a lot of gun violence prevention work for the African American community. I grew up in the 80s, in the middle of the crack epidemic, when drive-bys became a thing. And having lost my daughter in 2017, realized that this is something that still plagues our community, but nobody really was talking about it. They talked about school shootings and mass shootings, but nobody talked about the everyday gun violence we experience in the Black community. And so with everything I'm doing, public safety just became something that encompassed all of it.
And how long have you been doing this type of work?
Well, I've done emergency mental health for 30 years.
30
So
years.
I am a subject matter expert on mental illness and what that looks like out in the community. I founded my organization in 2017, right after my daughter was killed. And I've been literally training the police, dedicatedly training the police, about 3 years.
Okay. All right. And so you have the foundation and you also have as well as your practice as well.
Yes, clinical and forensic associates. So we do
Okay.
a lot of clinical work. We also serve the community. I treat people in the community. We do diversion programs, so DUIs and anger management, domestic violence. So if people have those type of things, because again, those things really compromise the community. I'm all about public safety. We all deserve to be able to live in a safe society.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that you're trying to do right now, I know that you have a podcast. Name some of the marketing things that you're doing right now.
Marketing, well, we
Mm.
put out stuff on our social media. I have people who work my social media for me, because it is very time consuming. I do speaking engagements, a lot of speaking engagement, and I train. I also belong to the national police organizations, that where my avatars live, where the people I'm serving, you know, do what they do. So I'm networking in that way as well.
So in terms of marketing, it's mostly referral where you get your business.
Well, for clients, yes. I don't do a lot of referrals. I do take insurance. So the insurance companies, of course, publish my name, word of mouth. I like to think I've always thought I was a pretty good therapist, but I think I'm amazing, because I'm doing fourth generation clients. So I have clients who have referred
Wow.
people, who have referred people, who have referred people. So that is
Yeah,
yes. So that
that
is
is
definitely, that's been a feather in my cap. I have clients who have stopped coming for different reasons, but wind up coming back. I have some clients I've had for 3 or 4 years, which also says that they're getting some help and I'm doing some amazing work. So I'm really proud about that. So with the therapy, I don't have to counsel as I don't have to market as much like that. That's really done, but really making sure that the police know that I'm out here. And when I train police, I mentioned about, this is something else that I do. And I often get maybe 3 or 4 referrals right then from police or from either for themselves or for family members, or maybe even another officer that they know that didn't sit through the training.
So being a therapist, when you are, say, on television, things like that, or maybe have you ever been featured in like any newspapers or magazines? Do you ever get business from there or referrals from there?
I have, and mostly not. I don't know if you would call it business, but my nonprofit, because we do gun violence, and at the time of my daughter's homicide, there was lots of press, so we do get quite a bit of coverage. When there's something going out, like I've testified on Capitol Hill, and more recently in Annapolis. I'm very active in the gun violence space. So people, little name recognition. I'm also affiliated with some national organizations, so people get to know what I do. I'm also an author, so people get to know me in that way as well. So,
Okay.
and
All
then
right.
and then I put on programs myself because we have a nonprofit. We do programs to stop the violence, and so people get to know me in that way. One of the things I like about having a nonprofit is me and one of my business coaches talk about this. If you're not invited to the table, create your own. And being a co-founder of a nonprofit that is about the work that we're doing really helps me create my own table.
So you have your own platform and things like that.
I
It
do.
sounds like you have all of the pieces. And even if you have an event, if you do an event every quarter or every other month, you still need people there. If you're going
Yes.
to be on a television show, you want to leverage it. You want to build an email list. You want to make sure that people are really understanding what you're doing. And then when you have a nonprofit, one of the things they want to know is like they want the stats of like who are you impacting? What is your platform? Just generally, and then I'll let Lenzy ask some questions. Generally, how many people overall are in your platform, in your social media numbers? And then maybe if you know how many people are on your email list.
That's the question for me. So that's the thing. I don't know how many people are on my email list. We do an email list for the foundation, and so we send out newsletters. But personally, for clinical and forensic associates, I have not done an email list. And so that would be an area I can use some help, and like how to capture people's emails and what types of things to send them on a regular basis. Do I
Yeah,
just send them if they're,
educational stuff,
yep.
stuff that's in
Mhm.
your head for the last 30 years, basically.
Yeah.
It's like stuff that that is in your head for the last 30 years, things that may help people. So,
Yeah.
Lenzy, you have questions that you want to ask Dr. Tyreese?
Yeah. So quickly answering your question, expanding just a little bit on what Pam said about the email. Email marketing is really extremely simple. These people joined your email list for a reason. They're trying to get something, or they're trying to solve a problem of some sort. Whatever the reason is that they gave you their email address, that's what you're going to send them. You're going to provide information on at least a weekly basis. You need to be sending an email once a week where you're helping them get to where they're trying to go. You're providing resources, or just off the top of your head. Just so the way I like to simplify it for people is pretend like you're writing that email to one person. You have a friend who has come to you because they need help with this thing that you specialize in, whatever that thing is. What is the email that you're going to send to that person today? It's
Okay.
not going to be something all fancy and this and that. What is the email? If this was a real person that you knew, what is the email that you're going to send to them today to help them solve this problem they have or get where they're trying to go? That's the email that you send every week. So just
Okay.
don't think about it like I'm emailing my list. Think about it like I'm emailing my friend who has
Okay.
this problem. And then that makes it much easier to write that email. It's going to be received better. And you're just not going to have a problem figuring out what to say this week. What would you say to your friend?
Okay.
Um, what exactly are you trying to accomplish? With like what do you need help with right now?
How to do an email list for people. So that would be one thing that I'm thinking of, because I'm thinking, like, should I add my clients to my email list? Should I add my friends who are looking at my social media? So I guess really just to be able to organize, what does that list look like? So most of the time when I'm advertising my big ticket, let's just talk about the big ticket item, that wouldn't go to just anybody. That goes to people in the police department or first responder units like ambulance services or EMS and fire. They would go to the decision makers in those organizations. So those wouldn't be people who would naturally be looking at my Facebook or my Instagram. I need decision makers. I need mayors of cities and county executives, because these are the people who make a decision to pay me $20,000 to come in and train their department, because that's really where I'll make my money. The therapy is, it's my, I guess you would call it my low ticket item, where I'm taking somebody's insurance or they're paying me a fee. So that would be everybody else. That would be the general public. So it's two different types of email lists that I think I need, because one is going to speak to pushing my big ticket item and the importance of it, right? Like including education, educating a county executive of why mental health for police and fire and EMS is really important, or even in a corporate space. I've even gotten some calls to do some training for churches, because there's, mental illness that shows up in the church. And so I'm able and flexible enough to, even though I don't market to them, but because they've seen my stuff, they may come on and ask me to do something. And that might be a speaking engagement or a training. So I think really just like how to leverage the two different audiences, because they're two different people that are gonna subscribe to my service.
Okay.
And then
So you said
okay.
yeah. So you said that
The
they see your stuff. So that's the part right there that I'm kind of like hooking, like, how do they see your stuff? So it's just like, how do they see your stuff? Are that question right there, if they see you and they hire you, how do they see you? So that's where I want to go. Did they see you? Did they read about you? Did they see you in the newspaper? Did they see you on television? How they see my did they see your book in the bookstore? That's the part where we want it to really hunker down on, because that is marketing at that point when they see your
Right,
stuff. Something you did where they're seeing your stuff, right? That's
right.
marketing. So that's where we're talking about.
so this your email list, you're gonna have one list with multiple segments. That's how you're gonna do this because you're it's the same work, but the information that's relevant, you have different groups who you need to communicate with differently about the same information. And so what you're going to do is have one email list with different segments on it. And basically the way you would do that from a technical standpoint is you would have a page that people sign up for who want that's targeting those decision makers. So you have a video on YouTube where or wherever that is speaking to those decision makers. It's the type of content that will target that particular audience. And then your call to action is click this link. They click that link, it takes them to a page, they put in their email address. And because they click that particular, they went to that particular page, you're going to have a tag assigned to them that would, a decision maker tag. We'll just call it that, for example. And then your folks for your first responder therapy, you might have a different page that they click on, and there's a different message on that page talking about your therapy services for first responders and their
Mhm.
families. Put in your email address, and then they get a tag for first responder. So they get that you're putting everybody on one list, but there you have a way to separate them. And
Okay.
so when you send out these emails, you're picking from, okay, let me send this is an email for my decision makers, and so I'm going to pick the people that have the decision maker tag. This is an email for my first responder families or first responders or their families. And so you just use the tag that's pulls up all of those people. And so you can have an automated set of emails go to these people based on their tag. So that's how you do what from a technical standpoint, what you just asked, how do you communicate with these different groups? You are going to send different messages to them based on what tag they have, and that tag they will get will be based on which of your forms they filled out to join your email list.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I use something very simple like Keep, and I can put that in the chat below. Keep or Active Campaign, Aweber. Some people even use MailChimp, which I wouldn't recommend, but something a little bit more
Yeah, I don't
sophisticated.
like MailChimp either.
I
Can I
know.
ask why you wouldn't use MailChimp?
Just from the sophistication of the things that you want. It's good for beginning. It's good for
Okay.
beginning. I probably used that maybe
I don't
12 years
even like it
ago.
for beginners.
I think I used it like 12 years ago. So things
Okay.
have evolved and grown. It's just kind of like
Okay.
how would I be on MySpace when there's so many other things? It's just like it's
Right.
old. It's like
Gotcha.
those kind of things. So something like Keep or something like Active Campaign is really, really good. And then,
ConvertKit.
there's other
What was the other
systems.
one?
Convert
ConvertKit, because Active Campaign is
Their
expensive,
customer
man.
and their customer service sucks. I have a question here from Dr. Pamela Luhing, who is part of Ready Set Go Speak as well. She hails out of Charlotte. She says, Dr. Mccallister, you're such an inspiration. Have you tried lunch and learns with those entities, meaning that the corporations or the county governments and things like that?
I have not, but that sounds like a really good idea. Thank you for that. I have not done that.
Yes, yes, because that's one of the things you want to get in front of those particular people.
Right.
And once they hear you, I mean, you have the cred. I mean, you got 30 years and I don't know what you started at 10 years old or what. I don't know.
Thank you.
It's like, so you got the cred, and so you have the information and you have the training. And so what I'd like to see is possibly you do more marketing of what it is that you do in front of those groups and then having them get on your email list so you can continually communicate with them. Something that the Ready Set Go Speak people they know that I talk about all the time is called Talk a Dot. And so basically it's
I'm on
like
talking about.
you're on talking. Okay, so when you are in doing a presentation, that's what Talk Dot is. What does capture in terms of like how well you're doing and people rate you. But at the very end, it captures email addresses. It gives you a
And
QR code and it should go to either one of your email system. That's really
And
what the
that's what
main
I haven't capitalized on because I do the Talkadot and I've used it to download and then send the person who's my point of contact to let them know how amazing I was, right? But I have not used it for the mailing list. So that's a good idea. Thank you.
and
And I
and,
think I'm sorry, this is the thing I tell everybody. I'm a therapist. I'm great at it. I'm a trainer. I'm great at it. This business stuff, this marketing, I'm like, I need some help.
well, that's why you're on the hot seat, and that's why we're here to really just help you and give you some guidance because that's
Thank
really
you.
the thing. Because every person that you touch, that you speak to, who thinks you're amazing, they would love you, but you need to stay in front of them often, and then they also need to know that they can refer you. So with Ready, Set, Go, Speak, we always talk about referrals and recommendations. Those are the main two, and that comes out of
Okay.
relationships. So you have the foundation, you have the relationships with the police, you've been doing the work, but then it's like there's no email list. I will say that you even have information on the podcast. We're going to put a pin in that for right now about this podcast. But Trina was saying something too. She said, Trina Ramsey, she's part of Ready, Set, Go Speak as well. She says, you are so inspiring. Thank you for all that you are doing. And
Thank
one
you.
of the bravest things that you probably did is your daughter that was murdered and you're doing work with police and starting the foundation. That is really like brave work to do because now it's like it's personal. It's not
Yeah.
just okay, this was my job, but now it's
Yeah.
like it's personal.
Yeah.
So that part right there, and you probably do grief recovery and all those type of things as well. So you have a lot of things in your plate, and that's kind of like a lot of people. They need some clarity, like which to promote. Lenzy did a great thing about having one list and then just segmenting it
Yeah.
to, so that people can actually know who gets what.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, and so Jess, she said, "So thankful God guided me here at this time." You're welcome, Jess. So you're doing the good work, and I want to put
Thank you.
your email up here, not your email, but your website. Which website do you use? I know you use your name.com,
Mhm.
correct?
.org for my name,
Oh, .org.
TyreseMcCallister.org or clinicalforensicassociates.com.
We're gonna go with your name. It's a little bit
Okay.
easier to spell. always say we want to make sure we have a domain name that is easy to say and easy to spell.
Yeah.
That's so important. If you ever go on a radio show, say you're on Steve Harvey's show or some national
Yeah.
TV show, Erica Campbell, and they ask you TyreseMcCallister.org. And then you can
Yeah.
kind of just say McCallister with one C because people sometimes will put two C's.
Yes. 1C, 2 L's.
Yeah, one C. There you go. That's true. That's a good way to say it on the radio or on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Lenzy, you have a question. I want to say James. He says your services are very much needed. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Oh, that's Robin. That's Robin Mack. There you go. The thing that I want to say too, Lenzy, did you have a question
You said I have one, or you asking me do I have one?
about her
Somebody
podcast?
asking me a question?
Then I was gonna go into her podcast.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to ask. I wanted to know what she's what is the podcast? Where are you placing it? What's this about? So yeah,
I
go ahead.
think it's called Thursday.
It's called Thursday Therapy, 8 o'clock on Thursdays. And the issue for me is it's just been on social media. How to, again, time consuming, how to get it out there. I need like support to be able to do that. Like I have a co-host. We call ourselves the Dynamic Duo. She's a mental health advocate. I'm the therapist, and we do all things mental health, and not just and it's specifically targeted to the African American community, in that African Americans traditionally didn't go for therapy. We walk around hurting and we don't look at different things. So we talk about all things therapy, like how to get healed in different ways other than going to a therapist, because not everybody's going to go to a therapist. Some people are going to listen to this podcast and get what they need and they'll be done. Some people will do yoga and meditation. So we introduce them to alternatives to therapy as well, even though we advocate therapy, but therapy is not for everybody. And so anything mental health, we even talk about stuff like random stuff like church hurt and how people leave the church because they've been hurt, and how to heal from those types of things. Or, I'm the black sheep in my family, and what that looks like and feels like, and how to heal from those childhood hurts. So we talk about a lot of different things.
Is this audio only or video? How is it done?
Video and audio.
Where are you posting it?
On our social media page.
Where exactly?
ThursdayTherapy.com.
No. When you say social media, what platforms are you talking
Oh,
about?
Facebook.
Just Facebook?
That's all we know.
Okay, I'm asking. I got to find out what are you doing
Right.
so I can.
It's on Facebook. Yeah. And that's to my point. Like we need help doing all the things.
Yeah. Just how long roughly is a typical episode?
1 hour.
Yeah, you got to move that to YouTube.
Okay.
You're doing the right thing on the wrong platform.
Okay.
People do not go to Facebook to watch hour-long videos.
Right.
But they do go to YouTube to watch hour-long videos.
So actually, I was in a conversation earlier this week with Dr. Perry, and she said that. So I had the person who does my social media lift all of those videos up, and I haven't had a chance to check, but they should be on YouTube now. But we're going to change that platform based on the advice. So thank you.
Good.
Yeah, that's the home for long format video.
Yeah,
and they will never. So on Facebook is not going to put your old videos in front of new people. YouTube will. Your videos will continue when somebody new discovers your channel a year from now, 2 years from now, and starts watching your videos. YouTube will put your old ones in front of them, and so that content will continue to circulate and benefit you, and more importantly, benefit the audience. YouTube is the number 2 most visited website in the world. It's also the number 2 search engine in the world. So people who are searching for help with mental health, they're searching for counselors who can provide the type of training that you provide. When people go to search for something, where do they go? First place they go is Google. Second place they go is YouTube. I don't know where Facebook is on the list, but it's not number 1 and it's not number 2. So to put yourself and your resources in front of the most people, especially in the format that you're doing, YouTube is the place to do that. And the description box has the place where you can put all the links for people to get to the various different. You can have a website for which for what you're doing, that probably will be the most efficient way, or specifically, not necessarily a website, but a landing page, one for your decision makers that you're targeting. And so that page again needs to have information on it that is relevant to that audience. Then you have
Mhm.
another landing page where this is an email collection box where that's relevant to the first responders or their families that need help. And so you can put all of those resources in that description box and let people click the link that takes them to the thing that they need. And they put in their email address and they start receiving information that is specific to their need. So this is what YouTube will do for you, and it's the most efficient way to do what you're currently doing. You're doing the right thing, just not on the right platform.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
And the other part to that as well is, it does help when television stations ask for B-roll, they get it from YouTube. They can't get it from another station. They have to get it from YouTube, from your YouTube because you own it. And so they'll say, "Hey, can I get your B-roll from your YouTube?" But Jess Angel says right here, she says, "Those free tips that we give our views, that equals money." And what she's saying is that we can monetize YouTube where you can't monetize Facebook.
Right.
Meaning
Okay.
that eventually, if you have so many views and you have so many subscribers, you'll get paid by YouTube. And I know one of my clients, Dr. Kawana, gets paid thousands of dollars a month just by posting on YouTube. Or you
Okay.
can also build a community on YouTube as well. I mean, there's a lot of things um, that the advantages of YouTube, especially over Facebook. I've heard so many horror stories lately about Facebook shutting people down and
Mm.
closing their account or being hacked and just all the things. And
Mhm.
I have yet to really hear anything like that happening with YouTube. And I've been in business for a long time. I've never heard them say,
Okay.
"Oh, my YouTube was hacked," or they unless you break the rules or something like that. Um, but yeah, it's one of the things that you want to make sure just as you can also monetize on Facebook. I don't know if they monetize. I know for sure if you pay to play, they probably do give you something back. At one
Mhm.
point, they were playing for reels, and people were getting paid to make reels, but that's not the thing. So one of the things that you have coming up, I was in your community with the Dakisha this week, and you had a question about how do you leverage PR. So PR is really getting media publicity, is using the platform of the media that can reach people that you probably wouldn't normally reach, right? So if you're on NBC, ABC, or anybody's platform, or even in like an online publication, you're going to reach people that are reading and consuming that news. And radio, the same thing. So you're in front of more people, but you want it to direct them back to you. So having your name.org is good because then they can find that when they Google your name if they see you. But you have something that's coming up Saturday that you ask, how do you leverage that?
So on Saturday, I am the therapist for Love and Marriage DC. I am speaking to retired officer who's one of the stars of the show. He's the main star of the show. Retired Detective Jamie Tyler, who coincidentally was initially on my daughter's case, that's a whole story in
Wow.
itself. It's
Wow.
a whole story. But I trained him when he was with MPD, and he asked me to be on the show. And I couldn't be on the show initially to do what he initially wanted me to do. And then it worked out. He retired from MPD, was able to announce that he was an officer, a retired officer at that time. And then he brought me on the show so it worked perfectly for my brand. So I always say God doesn't make any mistakes. I wasn't supposed to do what they wanted me to do initially. I wasn't supposed to do it because this is what I was supposed to do because it's directly what I do.
So Saturday, you're more or less like going to be on Love and Marriage in DC.
Love
Uh,
Marriage DC. And we're having a watch party, and he told me he's going to be coming, so I'm excited because he's a local celebrity, so that's exciting
And
for
then
me.
your role as a therapist. So do you think by that exposure that you will get new clients, people who will be finding out about the foundation work that other corporate people maybe want to hire you? What do you expect from that kind of exposure? Because that's a pretty popular show.
I'm expecting that I will get calls. So um, Jamie has been posting already. Like his social media is off the chain. Like he has a lot of followers, and so I've noticed that my numbers have gone up, and that people are looking at the episode, and I have the upgraded version on LinkedIn. So when people are looking at me, I can see that they're looking at me, and those numbers have also gone up since he started posting me. So it also talks about my business is highlighted in the thing, so that's good too. So people can also look for me there.
So let me tell you what I told you, how to leverage that, because people will. Well, I'll give you two examples of a good one and a bad one. I had a client years ago that was on a show. She was a coach, and it was a really popular show. I think it was on Bravo or something like that. And she was the coach, and she was coaching these young men. And the show was popular, and people were coming to her website, but there was no opt in. There was nothing for them to do. What she was coaching about, her website was incongruent. They didn't match, and they were like, okay, we see you on the show, you're this life coach, but I go here and there's some other weird stuff going on, and they bounce off. And so her bounce rate was really high, but she got a lot of traffic, and it was like she didn't leverage it. She was so excited to be on the show, but it was like might as well been a waste. So they were googling her name, but what they would find on the site was just like the other person who was on the show. They were on the Today Show, and that was just a couple of weeks ago. She said, hey, I'm on the Today Show, how do I leverage that? And so we quickly, with quick media coverage, we quickly wrote a story, put it on the Women's Journal, took screenshots from the video, wrote the story, and really kind of spun it or just gave it a different angle of what she really does, and drive people to womenwhobossup.com. And now her email list began to grow. So then she started to share it out, not just sharing the video, which was embedded in the story, as well as sharing the story. So now
Okay.
you have people who are looking at it because they saw the story. Oh, it's a big deal. She's on Today Show. Why? And it's like, okay, well, she was on there because she was doing this, but really, oh, okay, let me see what else she has. And it drove them to a link that captured the email address if they were interested, if they were her ideal
Mhm.
customer. So those
Okay.
are the things. So you kind of take a story, you put it in the Women's Journal, or she could have did see a weekly, but there's different ones like that. Sometimes you could do a press release as well. Sometimes your local TV will pick something up as well, because right now we're pitching it to her local area as well. Today Show's national, so now we're pitching to Las Vegas, so that the local stations and the NBC affiliates can pick it up as well. So you want to leverage it besides posting on social media, but directing the traffic. That's, think about it, it's like it's all traffic.
Yeah.
So how do you direct the traffic? That's the key. And that's how you build your business, by directing the traffic. That's really what I want you to do.
So not just posting, but having links where people will go to either an article written about me or some other kind of press coverage or something like that, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so they can
Okay.
know how to really work with you more, hire you to speak, recommend you, or refer you. So you want to
Okay.
drive that traffic that's broad, and that's with any PR. PR is really a lead generator for you. So think about that. Yes, it's publicity, more people know, but it's those are leads. Those are quote unquote cold leads, but people listen to the media because it's not like it's your Facebook. It's like you're having the validation from the media to say this is the story, this is who you should listen to. So you're going to get all this cold traffic coming to you, like you said, eyeballs on LinkedIn. But now what? Now what do they do? Where do they go? So they want to dig deeper. You want to make sure your link is there on whatever platforms. Your link is on Instagram. Make sure your link is there. Besides the traffic to the website, that's where we're talking about conversion into the email list, right? Because that's where you want to convert it as well.
Okay.
Trina, okay, I'm gonna see if Trina wants to come up
Um,
private.
Tyreese, there's we're in a mental health crisis in this country, and have been and will be for, because we don't have a broken system. We don't have a system. There is a huge opportunity for people with your qualifications on social media in general, but YouTube specifically. So many people are in need of therapy and do not realize it, or they know it, but they don't know, they have no idea where to go, where to begin. And so, with your podcast, as well as shorter videos where you might just sit and talk for 5 or 10 minutes on a particular topic and just share something that for you is no big deal. You just know all kinds of stuff like this. But for somebody else, that is the missing piece of information that they are really going to need to help them change their lives. I'm working with therapists is kind of a side thing that I do for this very reason, because you guys are, it's effectively a counseling session, a low effort counseling session from you, where instead of having an interactive session where you're also taking on the burden of that the person is bearing, you're instead just sharing some knowledge,
Mhm.
and helping people move forward with something. Like, I got a therapist now that just she made a video last week about angry parenting, and how people become an angry parent because of how they were treated, and now you're perpetuating this with your own kid, and here's how you can, things you can do to break the cycle. And the
Mhm.
response that she's getting from people, because they can see that she's talking about me, and I don't like it, because this is not who I want it to be. This is the
Yeah.
opposite of who I want it to be. And now she's telling me that, she's pointed this out to me, and she's giving me some steps so that I can become the parent who I really want to be. I don't want to make my kid be this person when they grow up. And so this is the power that people like you have, professional trained counselors have, that you can, with just one video that's 5-10 minutes long, you can really have an impact, not just on an individual, but on that family. When you
Yeah.
change the parent, you change the kids, and you can help break some of these generational traumas and stop them from getting passed down. And the best platform for you to do this is YouTube.
Mhm, mhm.
No, I
It is.
appreciate that. Thank you.
I had a
Wait, I have a
question.
question.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, go on, 'cause I wanna get to Trina's question, and that
Do
kind of
people interact on YouTube like they do on other social media platforms? Like, do they ask
Absolutely.
questions? And oh,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
obviously, got to get to know about YouTube.
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
Okay,
I Googled you, and I said, "You have shorts up there." You were like, "I do?" It's like, "Yeah, you have some shorts on YouTube."
I
Yeah,
should have
that's
more stuff now.
yeah, you should. You should have more stuff up there. You can
Yeah.
even create posts in YouTube as well. So that's
Okay.
one of the things that does. One of the things um, that most entrepreneurs, especially when I call seasoned entrepreneurs that have a bastion of knowledge, information, credentials, awards, just really rich with a lot of information, is like where, and they become an entrepreneur, like where to start. So Trina is like that. She says of order of priority. And so the question, Trina, is from our community. She says, given that I'm kind of like in a startup mode, not in terms of her career, but just in terms of building her business, to an extent of doing this full time. She's been doing it part time, coaching, like, while she was working as a nonprofit executive. She says, but I'm feeling a bit scattered. So clarity is really, really key, of like what sequence to put things in first, second, and third.
Mm-hmm.
So with me being a publicist, when you come to me, I try to get as many ears and eyes on you as possible. And the thing that I said, it's a lead generation, it's traffic. It's once you have the traffic, how do you convert the traffic? Whether you're sending them to a page or funnel, whatever that kind of thing is, right? So you have the podcast, you're on the television show, you're doing the press releases and that kind of thing. That's all good. But how do you focus on the priority of what to do first, second, and third?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with you, you have the foundation, you have the speaking that you're doing, your training, and you're also doing your practice, right? And then in between, you're trying to do this marketing. So how do you, asking you, and I can answer it, and Lenzy can answer too, in terms of priority, how do you prioritize what to do in your business, or what to push, I guess you would say, in terms of what to put out there first, second, and third. So when you're introducing yourself, people are like, well, what do you do? And you're like, you're stumbling. It's like, I feel scattered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I do everything.
Yeah, I think I look at who I'm talking to, right? And what the potential of the conversation is. If I'm talking to somebody at my church, then I know they're probably interested in counseling for themselves or somebody that they care about. If I'm at work, right? I did a hostage negotiation training for some officers all around the DMV. And so when people ask me what I do, I start talking mostly about my training, right? Because I know that they're interested in a larger deal of how can they bring me to their agency. So I guess it really depends for me who the context of what I'm talking about. Um, if I'm talking to a parent, I might start talking about me being an author of a children's book about homicide and trauma. It really just depends on the audience and um why I'm even speaking to them.
The priorities in terms of financial, we kind of said it a little bit. And I'll just say this too, in terms of Trina, in terms of where to put the effort, especially in a startup mode, you put it building the business where is the biggest check at this point, right?
Okay.
Who it is that is paying you the biggest check, especially in the startup mode. So for
Yeah.
you, it would be the training. Okay.
Yes.
So then you'll put together and make that the priority because that's the largest check. Once you have maybe two or three of those, then you can focus on the other things. But
Got
you
you.
wouldn't start focusing on the folks at the church, even though that's a good thing to do, but they're
Mhm.
not going to pay as much as the larger contract. So
Right.
that's kind of like the thing. I hope that answers Trina a little bit about feeling scattered. Lenzy, what's your take?
Yeah, profit first. There's a book called Profit First. If for folks who are struggling with that, because what happens with a lot of women business owners is they start businesses with the nonprofit mindset, and you're trying to help people and prioritizing that over making money, and that's not how it works. You cannot become a philanthropist until you have money. So you focus on the tasks that are going to bring you money, that and also free up your time, and then you're able to help the people who really need your help. But you can't help somebody drowning if you in the water with them drowning. You gotta, get yourself, build a boat, and then you
Mhm,
can start scooping up some people. So yeah, that and to help with that, you got to start with identifying your ideal client. Who is the one person on planet Earth for whom you offer the best solution? Who is identify that person, and then now you can communicate with them effectively. When they see your solution, when you start talking about what it is you do, they're going to hear their name. They're going to feel like you're in their head because you're speaking their language, you're talking about the problems that they're having. And so the way to get to those most profitable clients is to identify the one person on planet Earth for whom you have the best solution, and build your business on top of that, and build your marketing campaign around that.
mhm. That
Mhm.
includes, like, getting on those type of podcasts, being in those type of media, being in those type of groups. I know Trina, was in fact on a podcast called Brown Girl Collective. So Brown Girl Collective is really like women, obviously Black women, but it's really Black women who are professionals. So that was a good, I guess you'd say, podcast for you to go on. So for you, there's a lot of therapy for Black girls, something like
Yeah.
that, Tyreese. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
ever been on there
I'm
before.
familiar.
Yeah, so those kind of things where someone who your target audience would be listening to, and it's like, oh, okay, I heard her on this podcast. Podcasts are longer form than, say, if you're doing a 5 or 6, 7 minute segment on television station. So those
Mhm.
are like one of the main things that you want to make sure that you're doing that, because being in front of that ideal, identifying the ideal audience, being in front of them and being in front of them often. When I say often, like at least not just in social media, but in terms of other media outlets as well, where you know that they're hanging out. That's
Okay.
that's really, really key. And then also emailing them. Once they do hear you, then you want to keep in touch with them, because then they may
Mhm.
accidentally, say, hey, oh yeah, I do remember someone that does that kind of thing. Um, Lenzy, I think she has a question. She says, the only thing that I will add is also helpful is really look at their pain points that will help them speak to their
Mhm.
heart. That is
Mhm.
really like the main thing. Yeah, that's from Pamela Luhang as well. So
Yeah,
you want to
pain
make sure.
points and ambitions. You got that. That's part of the process of identifying your ideal client. You have to
Mhm,
know they're either trying to get away from something or trying to get towards something. You need to know that inside and out so that
mhm,
you can speak to those things and get their attention.
mhm,
Thank
mhm.
you for that, because I've heard of pain points and I'm poised to address those, but never really thought of ambitions. Nobody's ever talked about that. So I will reposition myself to be able to speak to both. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Folks are
so
running
just
from something to something.
yeah, I hope
Mhm.
everybody found this valuable to really like dig in deep in someone else's kind of stuff, like in terms of like, sometimes we're so much in our own business that we can't see the forest for the trees type of
Yeah.
things. Like one of the main things was like, okay, we know we got to get you off YouTube. We know we got to build your email list. You got the stuff. So these are the things that really to tell you a little bit more about what I recommend for you is getting in like a PR branding marketing community. And this is with anyone who it is someone who hasn't been in marketing and they don't think that way, right? Being around someone as me is like a guide that can help you think this way is really important. And it's not just like, oh, okay, I'm going to do an ad in this particular newspaper or I'm going to get on this podcast, but it's continually. So someone to always feed you leads, give you ideas about places to speak and connections. It's like, oh, okay, so you spoke here. Well, you should also go and speak here. And that's really what Ready, Set, Go, Speak is. It's like it is courses as well so that you can kind of learn the different things in the templates, but it's also really the main thing is that it's the connections and then how you can make the connections as well. Because a lot of times for taking advantage of something that you have, it's like I see it immediately. So in Ready, Set, Go, Speak, I say, hey, you're going to be on this. So you need to do this, this, and this, or you need to meet this person who is also a reporter that is looking for a story. And often too, Pamela Luheen, she was just in Women's Journal. Trina was on different podcasts. There are opportunities that people send me because Speakers Magazine and they know who my audience is and they say, "Hey, do you know this is opportunity for your community. Hope Magazine, which would be good for you. Hope Magazine and you have a book and they said, "Hey, if you have any authors, please have them send their book to this person, their new book editor because they know that I have people that definitely are in their audience. Hope Magazine is a magazine that's been around about 10, 15 years. It's women magazine. So your book would be good. Or there was someone that connected woman for Women's History Month that says, hey, here's something for your community. Would you like, we'd like to give everybody some free exposure in our magazine. So those are the kind of things that PR is not one and done. It's a continual. Marketing is a
Yeah.
ing all the time. But it's hard if you don't think that way because you're thinking therapy or my patients and things like that. So the group, you're with us for 12 months on the different opportunities that you need and to really kind of help you focus on that marketing part, how to do the leads. And then a lot of people work together too, because there's someone in our community that can set up some systems for you. So you do a webinar
Mhm.
once, there's someone in our group that can set up a webinar, or someone that can set up a webinar. And then
Mhm.
how to get people to the webinar, getting new people to the webinar, and having people say, well, hey, I'll send it out to my email list, or I will promote it, or I know people that will do. And that's just the power of community. It's recommendations, it's referrals, and it's relationships. Those are the main things. And then obviously all this should equal revenue, right? So by people knowing each other over a period of time, they get to know there's accountability groups in there as well where they meet. Pamela, I think, meets with Tari and Donna Maria as well. So they meet separately outside of the group. But then obviously on Fridays, we do the hot seat. So Trina, like, she has a question in terms of, what she says. I speak to her in the group, but then also two Fridays, she can come in and ask questions as well. Uh, you know, and Sheila says, finally something of substance. Thank you. Thank you. We try to do that, Sheila. That's what we try to do. We want to give something of substance. Uh listen, I didn't wake up this morning and say, I want to give something that's not of substance. For the pretty much we are always
I'm gonna
straight.
waste some people's time today.
Yeah, no, no, no. We are always trying to make sure. I will I will say that the courses are in there, the brand accelerator, and obviously it's about your brand. But then there's also PR Power is in there as well. And then there's also the Speak Sell Shine. I think I talked to you about that maybe last year or so. It's coming up again. That's where Lenzy and I reconnected with Speak Sell Shine in DC. And those series are in there as well. The Speak Sell Shine follow-up series are in there. So being in a PR community is different because someone like me is always pushing you to get out there, right? To get out there and to get
Mhm.
more known. But again, PR is just like the best lead generator that you can have, but you have to have your back end together. Because if you get a million
Mhm.
people coming to your website and it's like, okay, they came, now what? They
And
you
they
don't even
went.
yeah, we don't know who they are or anything, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it and I mean, they could slide into your DM and that kind of thing, but it's so much better to just have a system to really
Mhm.
manage all of that. And
Mhm.
having a media page is good too, because if you are on something, say you're on something last year and you have a website and you have a media page, maybe they didn't see the show but it's on
Mhm.
your media page. So you need to have a media page and leverage all that. So when people are deciding whether to work with you, they may check out and says, well, Trina had a couple articles. She was on this podcast. And before people work with you, they check you out, they check out your YouTube, they check out your podcast.
They look
They
for receipts.
they look at your timeline. Yeah, they don't want to see any foolishness in your timeline. I think Lenzy, I posted something in the community this week about what you said about your business page. That was
Yeah, take it seriously.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see too many people that are just treating it as a creative expression. That's not what this is. If you're trying to grow a business, your posts need to be focused on your ideal client and what they need so that you can grow your
Mhm.
business. You can't just be sharing whatever you felt like sharing today. You got to have another account for that.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, unless you're an influencer and you just wanna do all kind of crazy things to really just get numbers, people will do anything for the numbers because they're trying to be, "I wanna be an influencer," right? And it's like, okay, so an influencer would be a strategy where you have a lot of followers and people will pay you to post stuff. So they'll pay you 2 or 300 bucks to post something on your social media because you have numbers. Well, you got those numbers by doing stuff crazy, like just shaking it
Yeah.
up, doing whatever. And that's not really a business model. That's for somebody in their 20s. Maybe that's a good thing to
Right.
do while you in college. It's good. If you can get 200 bucks for just posting something on Instagram while you're in your 20s, good, go for it. You're still in school, fine. But if you're trying to build a real business, no, no,
Right.
that is not the strategy that we recommend. But that's
Right.
what I do recommend for you. Ready, set, go, speak.com. You can see it down there. What happens is when you join, you immediately get quick media coverage. You get some media exposure. You get a lot of things that just kind of kick start you up into gear. And for you, it would probably be good to leverage the show that you're going to be on Saturday. That's one of the main
Mhm.
things. You're going to get a lot of eyeballs on there.
Yeah.
Even though you taped it last year, but it's just airing this week, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so that's like the main thing. Trina has a question. I think, oh, okay, no, I just sent Trina the book. The book was called Profits First by
Mhm.
Michael, can't pronounce his last name, but he was known as a toilet paper entrepreneur, which
Mm.
is easy to remember. The toilet paper entrepreneur years ago. He wrote a book about that. And he's has since grown now, really talking about profit first, transform cash eating money making into it, yeah, to transform cash eating money making. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. So anyway, so that's our recommended book that we recommend today. So if they are any other questions or anything that you
Do
have
you
for me or Lindsay?
do you offer, I'm reading from the chat, do you offer individual coaching and mentoring? Pam.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. PamPerryPR.com. I didn't see that in the chat. But yeah, PamPerryPR.com, individual coaching and also mentoring is more really like Ready, Set, Go, Speak. So I don't know if you mean what do you mean by mentoring, because that's really what we do in Ready, Set, Go, Speak is really mentoring. It's for long term.
So I have a question. So in the Ready Set Go program, because there's a community you meet every month, there's videos to watch.
No, we could meet every day. You're it's a community. So it's a rolling community. So I'm in there whenever there's opportunities, they're always posted in there.
But like for me, I'm really looking for not so much a community for the marketing because I don't have the time. right? Like with everything I have going on, I'm looking for, like for me, a PR person would be somebody who says, let's meet, what you got? I'm going to do this. Come back, you meeting with these people kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
my lifestyle, I've had coaching. I've had some really good coaching. I've had some not so good coaching. Um, and I'm return on investment and what I can realistically do. So people may have great videos to show me. I just don't like, I paid for them and I never can get to them. Like literally can never get to them because full-time
Yeah,
business,
it's
full-time
right.
entrepreneur, full-time work, full-time business, student, and I run a nonprofit and I'm married.
You said a
So,
student? You're in school?
mhm.
Okay. All right. She DTM doing the most. Okay. So for you would be my PamPerryPR.com and go to quick media coverage. There is two options where you can do 6 media hits a year or 12. 6 would be one every other month. And so we would brainstorm every other month about what your media coverage would be. Every month would be like, okay, we're going to do something every month. So that's there. You can pick that. It does include the community with it as well for a year. So you can be alert to the other new opportunities and speaking engagements as well, because sometimes there's speaking engagements that I'll put in there and people are looking for speakers. So you don't have to go in to the community, but you will get emails of different notifications of like, hey, they're looking for speakers or there's an opportunity for you to jump on right away. But the quick media coverage where it's a done for you PR, 6 media,
Yeah.
it's a year guaranteed or 12. Okay, so that's really like the main thing. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people who were in Speak Sell Shine and says, ooh, Omar, Trina was like that. He says, you know what? I don't, he was not really like very, very like, I'm just so focused on this. He's traveling all nationwide. He says, I just want you to do my PR. And so we do his PR for him. And so he basically is like guaranteed PR for him and we do it for him. So it's kind of like we're there for you behind the scenes so you can just be forward doing what you need to do.
Where I'm a subject matter expert in. And so, and what does the media coverage look like? Because I have been, I pay for PR and I've gotten in some places, but it was stuff that I had to pay for. So it's even more, I'm paying you and then you find me stuff that I have to pay even more money for. It just, the return on investment, it wasn't that it was a horrible deal. It just didn't meet my needs. It wasn't, and even in the coverage I got, it didn't
It has to
go
match
anywhere.
your audience. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we do. If you pick 12 or you pick 6, we basically say, what is the best placements for you? I did that recently with Sharon. Sharon was a cook. And one of the things that she was in, I forgot what publication it was, whether it's CEO Weekly, and we took that particular publication and we sent it to the TV station in DC, and she was actually on that segment. And she was on the segment in February to talk about heart health and soul food, Black History Month. So those were the kind of things where it fit her audience. And that is continual. So now the next thing that she did something Women's Journal, and we're pitching her out now for spring revival, renewal, community, that kind of thing. So it just depends.
You just
I'm the
add
type of
something real.
person where I have to know the client and then we brainstorm what they call angles. We
Let me
brainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
let me just add real quick. So Sharon's a caterer. She runs a catering business, Tyreese, and because of that news segment, she this week had a, a meeting with it's a what could become a big corporate client. Somebody saw her on that, and so she had a meeting with their panel of people to screen because they need to hire a caterer. So if that works out, that's going to be an ongoing corporate client. So real money.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
And that's the difference. That's the difference between traditional media and say posting on Facebook, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you want to reach a different level of client that sees you, and it
Mm-hmm.
gives a different level of credibility. So yeah, so go there and actually, pick one of those, and then we can have a conversation about which one you want to do. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Cool, cool. All righty. Well,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and being in
Thank
the
you
hot
for
seat
having me,
in
Lenzy.
the
Thank you
middle.
too for your input. I really appreciate it. I took really
Yeah,
good notes, so
you got to get
thank
on
you.
You
Yes.
got to get
Hopefully
on
you
YouTube.
got some good
I'm on
some
it.
good
Say
you got some
less. I'm on it.
Yes,
One
yes.
thing about me, I am a good student. I'm teachable and I'm coachable.
And you're
Okay.
still a student after doing what you're doing after 30 years. Okay.
I love
You,
learning.
you love learning. Yeah, but you don't want to watch some videos, but you love learning.
No. Yeah. Not that I don't want to. No, and when I do get a chance to watch them, I learn a lot. I take notes. It's just time. Why sometimes my poor husband, I'm listening to a video as I go to sleep because like that's literally the time. He's like, yeah, not
That is,
interested in that. So yeah.
yeah.
But
No, but
thank you so
you're doing a good job. You're doing a good
thank
job.
you.
And the people over here on YouTube are saying that they do want to make sure that they connect with you as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Lenzy. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages. PamPerryPR.com.